Swanika Street here in Accra. My name is Justice Appiah. We apologize for coming your way with the news 10 minutes after 12. It was a situation beyond our control. But quickly, let's move on to the stories that are making headlines in our afternoon bulletin. NDC parliamentary aspirant expressed worry over lies and deceit by politicians. Also, schools resumes today with final year students, says President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. We have 1.35 locked up in collapsed microfinance. S&L's fund managers lament. Details of these stories, including sports, entertainment, and international news, will come your way for the next 1 hour. We're going for a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Let me remind you that we are streaming live on Facebook at Pan African Television. We are also live on YouTube at Pan African Television. Now, moving on to our very first story for this afternoon. The National Democratic Congress parliamentary candidate for Naleregu Gambaga constituency, Alhaji Baba Seidu Isifo, has expressed deep worry over the peddling of lies and deceit by some politicians in the country. Speaking to Pan African News, he further urged the media, who are agents of peaceful coexistence, harmonious living and national development, to name and shame those found culpable to discourage others from doing same.
In the fallacy of the Green Book. What makes it wrong? What makes it a document that we cannot rely on? We're interested in that. And you, the media people, you have to look at this seriously, because you shouldn't allow politicians to come use your airwaves to lie to people. We shouldn't allow that. Continue to put politicians in check. That is how the media guys can be termed as development agents or partners in development. Your work is also developmental. You shouldn't allow somebody to come and say that I put up a hospital here and there's no hospital and you are keeping quiet. Why should you keep quiet? Name and shame politicians who are dishonest. And I like what happened yesterday on Newsfile. I like that. It's not about NDC MPP. When you have a problem, if you have a problem with the Green Book, tell us which of the projects is non-existent. Period. So politicians must learn. We have to learn. You can't go and lie and take power and sustain it with lies. It doesn't work that way. You get a point? You will be checked one day. And that is what we saw yesterday. And I give thumbs up to Newsfile. And I think that Pan-African TV is also, noted for that. And you guys should continue, so that politicians will stop taking us for a ride. Thank you.
A former Ashanti Regional Youth Organizer of the of the Convention People's Party, Robert Ochri Frimpong Manson, has shared found members of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and urged the youth in the party to contribute their quota by taking up leadership positions. He disclosed this in an interaction with my colleague, George Yosen Vinay.
Simple reason that the other members of the UCC were not seeing the light of the ordinary person at that time towards the realization of independence. And everybody will bear testimony. History tells you that Kwame Nkrumah did it. He had mobilized the entire masses of the people of this Kamaka to men youth and all the rest of the people, chiefs of people, to fight and won the independence of Ghana. What I want the youth to gain, to realize that is only the youth can build the country. So the youth today should take over and emulate the example of Kwame Nkrumah and the then youth at that time. And for that matter, we had a problem It is only the 24th February 1966 that has stuck back the Nkrumah position and the CPP position towards economic independence. Now, history will tell you that before the 1964, there were almost 400 factories all over the country. There was no unemployment. Ghana was a peaceful country, and we had a very economic agenda being pursued by the Convention People's Party. But then, because at that time the then opposition were not happy and they were not seeing the way they could go to power, the only way to get rid of army come and go to power was to plan the 24th February 1960, supported by the CIA. Nkrumah was in the flesh of the CIA because of his African unity agenda. And all the people who saw that immediately after independence, 6th of March 1957, we already 8 independent countries in Africa, including Ghana. And Nkrumah had organized 14th of April 1958. We brought all the leaders of those countries here and charged them to pursue the agenda of freedom and independence for the entire continent of Africa. And when the Western world saw that, immediately after 15 countries immediately became independent after Ghana. And it went on and on and on. So Nkrumah became a target for the CIA. And therefore the CIA saw the opposition in Ghana was not happy with Nkrumah. And they have to link up with them and then topple the country. But it has done a very big damage to this country. It has set Ghana 15 years or more behind. We are 63 years after independence. Nkrumah ruled this country for 9 years. Subtract 9 from 63, you get 63. Look at the projects Nkrumah did and compare the 52 years of what we have done. Subtract and see what I've done. The major projects that are lingering in this country and holding this country is still the Nkrumah projects.
Now, managing editor of the Inside newspaper, Comrade Kwesi Pratt Jr. has lashed out at the huge filing fee imposed by the hierarchy of the Convention People's Party, CPP, on candidates who are vying for leadership positions in the party. My colleague George Josephine has more on this particular one also.
Convention People's Party, CPP, was birthed on June 12, 1949, with forward ever, backwards never, as its enduring motto. The resignation of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah from the United Gold Coast Convention paved way for its formation at the old Polo Ground, with the cockerel as its iconic symbol, coupled with white, red, and green as colors for its flag. The party led Ghana to independence on March 6, 1957. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah contested Ghana's first presidential elections on April 27, 1960, and was elected unopposed in 1965. Professor George Hagan vied for the presidency in 2000 but lost gallantly. George Agude took his turn in 2004, Dr. Abu Sakara in 2008, Dr. Pakwesi Indom in 2012, and Ivory Kobina Greenstreet in the last general election in 2016, and lost with 25,552 representing 0.24%. Professor Abubakar Al-Hassan, Alhaji Asuma Banda, Ladi Yilanda, Samia Nkrumah, and Professor Edmond Dele are some individuals who once chaired the party. At the ceremony to launch the anniversary last Friday, managing editor of the Insight newspaper, Comrade Kwesi Pratt Jr., in his keynote address, was exceedingly worried over the imposition of exorbitant filing fees, a move which, according to him, does not represent the party's ideology. He also charged party faithful to desist from accepting positions offered by the New Patriotic Party, since they have discredited Dr. Kwame Nkrumah in spite of his invaluable contribution to Ghana's forward march.
Is that no David Nkrumah should be allowed to take any position offered by any other political party. Period. Yes. You cannot be a an Nkrumah is struggling to help us to rebuild the Convention People's Party, and a minister or an ambassador at large in the government formed by our enemy. It is not possible. You cannot participate in the work of governments formed by our opponents and still be a part of building that alternative to those structures that have been created by our opponents.
Acting National Chairperson of the party, Hajia Hamdaitu Haruna, assured party members of her unwavering commitment and urged them to respect decisions by the Council of Elders.
Any organization without elders, as the tree put it in Mamuki, the Council of Elders of the party have stepped in. We all have to abide and respect the decision of the Council of Elders so that we move forward as a party. You can't be talking about unity, then you'll be cutting legs. That one is not proper unity. I'll speak the truth, and the truth shall set me free.
The event was graced by 2016 flag bearer Ivor Kobina Greenstreet and several party executives. The ceremony was climaxed with cutting of cake and toasting of champagne.
Away from that, Chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Madam Jane Mensah, has revealed that the 2020 general elections will not become chaotic like previous one in Cote d'Ivoire and other nations. The EC boss said this during an interactive meeting with the leadership of TUC over issues relating to the compilation of a new voters register.
Jane Mensah said the Electoral Commission is only committed to delivering an incident-free and peaceful election come December. The Electoral Commission's decision to compile a new voters register has come under scrutiny from the opposition National Democratic Congress and some civil society organizations. Some have argued that the Commission's insistence on going ahead with a new voters register could plunge the country into chaos. However, responding to this, Jane Mensah said all the Commission wants a very transparent, very open, involving broad masses of our society.
Now away from Ghana, let's go to Libya, where protesters took to the streets in Benghazi, eastern Libya, against what it termed Turkish interference in the country's domestic affairs. The protesters carried banners and images in support of the self-styled Libyan Arab Armed Forces in the east.
Turkey had dispatched mercenaries and weapons to Libya's UN-backed government of national accord in the west. The GNA's army rivals the self-styled Libyan Arab Armed Forces in the east. Turkey's support for the GNA has helped shift the balance in the country, thus allowing the West-based forces to retake Tripoli and gain the upper hand against Eastern Commander Khalifa Haftar. The GNA has dismissed a ceasefire which was supposed to take effect since Saturday. It has continued advance towards the strategic city of Sirte in the Oil Crescent region on the Mediterranean coast.
Now let's go to Botswana, where Botswana's capital city, Gaborone, has returned to a total lockdown following an increase in the number of COVID-19 cases in the country. The city reinstated its containment measures starting midnight on Friday until further notice, as announced by health officials after an earlier announcement of 12 new cases.
Malachi Chipayagai, the country's director of health services, said in a televised announcement that officials had recorded 4 new imported cases at its borders and 8 at a private hospital in Gaborone, bringing cumulative cases to 60. Before the 12 were announced, Botswana only had 1 active case of the coronavirus. Diamond Rich, Botswana ended a 48-day national coronavirus lockdown late last month, but its borders are still closed apart from for returning citizens and imports of essential goods. It has recorded only one COVID-19 death. The previous lockdown severely hit the economy, with real gross domestic product seen contracting 13% this year, while the budget deficit could more than double.
Now, the Egyptian government is encouraging families to take care of abandoned children and raise them as their own, invoking the age-old Muslim doctrine of kafala. This follows the introduction of a series of legal amendments that have eased many of the restrictions of kafala.
This initiative, entitled A Family for Every Child, is aimed at reducing the number of children living in the country's 400 orphanages. A member of the Egyptian High Commission for Alternative Families, Hosni Yusuf, in an interview disclosed that they can provide a family to each one of those children and get rid of all care institutions in the long term. In almost all other Muslim countries, including the Middle East, orphans are mostly taken in formally by the extended family without any legal provisions. But Islam has introduced the legal concept of kafala, whereby a faithful can obtain full custody of a child. However, the child cannot take on the surname of a guardian and has no inheritance rights. Prior to the 2018, orphan children in Egypt could only be entrusted to guardians if they were over 2 years of age. This threshold has now been reduced to 3 months.
You're still watching Pan-African News right here on Pan-African Television. We're coming to you from our studios in Abilinkwe, 48 Swanika Street, here in Accra, Abilinkwe. Let me remind you that we're live on Facebook at Pan-African Television. We're also live on YouTube at Pan-African Television. We're going for a short break. We'll be back with some more stories.
Breakfast good day, every day.
Nestle, good food, good life.
This advertisement
Good food, good life.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Breakfast good day, every day.
Every day.
Nestle, good food, good life.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Welcome back. Now let's do some more stories, but let's go to Nigeria, where Nigeria, Africa's most populous country, became the third African country to record over 10,000 cases of COVID-19 on the continent. The milestone was reached on May 31 when 307 new cases took its tally to 10,162 cases.
As Africa's biggest economy, the federal government has continued to enforce regulations across the board, even though most state governments have moved to relax restrictions. Lagos, being the economic nerve center, is rolling out a progressive reopening of the economy. It is the most impacted state with over 5,000 cases as of May 31. Only Cross River State had yet to record a case. The national response is led by the Presidential Task Force, PTF, led by SFG boss Mustafa, along with a national coordinator and relevant ministers chief, among them Health, Foreign Affairs and Education ministries. Due to a threat made weeks back, resident doctors in the country are going ahead with a strike action starting today over poor pay and a lack of personal protective equipment for health workers. The Association of Resident Doctors President confirmed in an interview that they will stop providing all services including emergency care and coronavirus treatment. Aliyu Sokomba, their leader, said the government had failed to respond to their demands, including higher risk allowance in line with their frontline role in managing the pandemic. The strike will impact healthcare delivery given that 1 in every 3 doctors operating in Africa's most populous nation is a resident doctor. Caseload passed the 15,000 mark as Nigeria consolidated third most impacted sport in Africa behind South Africa and Egypt.
Now, Morocco's King Mohammed VI has successfully underwent an operation at the clinic of Royal Palace in Rabat after a recurrence of heart disorder such as atrial flutter.
The monarch's doctors recommended an additional radiofrequency ablation, which took place at the clinic of the Royal Palace in Rabat. The statement also added that the intervention was a complete success, like the previous one carried out on February 26, 2018 in Paris, with restoration of a normal heart rhythm. The 56-year-old monarch underwent a complementary ablation by radiofrequency, which resulted in a complete success with restoration of normal heart rhythm. In February 2018, the King of Morocco had successfully undergone a similar operation in Parisian clinic. Mohammed has reigned over Morocco since July 1999, when he succeeded his father, Hassan II.
That'll be all for the local stories. Up next is business. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Just came with the dad, do crazy was
why. Na me kwa na tire wo. O jari malaria din ya chinsa.
Eja kwa kuma 2 years. So no dan proke heba mister. Usi simbadu say from oyire so doctor ka chene say o malaria mo ani bu oni pedue mu a. So no dank anti-ma X yare malaria ebe kokora. Obi wo ho no ma ne yem ye ne yanso a. So no dank gastro care heba mister. Oho beton. Dank phyto care heba mister. Koko ebe ye hu adwuma ma wapon waposo won tutu dank extra keba mister obenya hoden ne watimi anante mekafo dank no nyina e de amamo
na ebenya dwedwe nya bi we
pharmacy shop ana herbal shop also pe dank no a ye be ma obi
pacho mo number ye sen
0266593330
enroi oba pemfo oba o ma akora nufo anya akora woni mfie du mienu ntime no FDA ahwehwe sa edwedie nkrato mu agya tom se eye.
Oh, it's incredible! Bang on target!
Dreadlocks and natural hair. I am Mikesh Crown Salon. Now keep try hair with dreadlocks. No, idea unyame eboma meno. Na ye hunu so hwe ana say maintenance and lack of knowledge no and ama de ya mekai kan abrofo ana obruni alo ablofoi pollute our natural air with the harsh, dangerous chemicals. In Tasem, we are Nintina. You started training, teaching, preaching the gospel according to maintaining natural air with these lovely natural organic products. Now, she say no ye be school now, zebra, na be shia unsano ejuma for you to be one of the best locticians in the whole wide world. Ensano ejuma we ensano ejuma osia odi kobe bia esan say to be a loctician no is a job the world need you today. Na natural hair ya de bia she say no e bapa na manfo agi atumpa. No stigmatization, no bad names for dreadlocks and natural hair. Entino me boko ko say brana besua sa nimdie we a efa dreadlocks, sisters locks, Nubian locks, Afro locks, cultivated locks, organic locks, micro locks, Caucasian locks, twist locks, real lock, hand twist, comb twist, flat twist. Sa no we nyina no brana besua usua wie na yehwe modern boa etimi ejiwo esan say Vikesh Training Academy no yewo branches bebre wo Ghana ha etimi employ wo ana say etimi esu employ outside the country.
If you want to learn all the techniques in natural hair and dreadlocks, please pick up a form in any of our branches. Also, for bulk purchases of our natural herbal products, please call 0542 126072 or 0277 454287.
Vikesh is the king of dreadlocks.
You don't know Stonewall representing, I said dreadlock to the world. BOT. Your natural hair is the crown of your glory. Vikesh! Why you pay?
Hello?
Oh, sound.
Okay, why? Hey, my wife comes and send a message you. Your office is not moving. Hello? You know, what's happened?
It's your chance, but who's be a quiet say what? I dare say.
Besides, friend, I'm so young. My wife is not testing messages here. And our office is so. I'm trying to tell you, man. She's saying, I
mean, so we a guy, man, and may young who could look cry. And also wants a family drilling company limited for Kana.
What's it then? Family Drilling Company Limited.
Ye two borehole, biofuel, biogas, swimming pool, plumbing works in Naso, ye be Frey 0240 333 111 and NASA 0244 144 822.
Miampa and you want swimming pool me see. Me want to me be family drilling now. Family drilling.
The fast is your last shit.
Me out with that.
Welcome back. You're still watching Pan African News right here on Pan African Television with me, Justice Appiah. Now let's go and look at what is happening in the world of business. Sensational agricultural workers from Morocco have been flown to Italy to harvest. COVID-19 lockdown left them out of jobs, while farmers feared their crops would go waste.
In late May, 248 Moroccan workers were flown by chartered planes and paid for by farmer groups. Italy relies on nearly 350,000 foreign agricultural workers with seasonal contracts. According to the Farmers Association, Confagricultura, foreign seasonal workers typically reside in Italy from March to November. They were allowed to work after testing negative for the virus. Italy plans to reopen its borders to non-EU visitors and workers today.
Now, the Ghana Securities Industry Association, GSIA, is appealing to the Ministry of Finance to urgently facilitate the payments of locked-up monies estimated at 1.3 1.35 billion cedis belonging to its members in the collapsed savings and loans and microfinance companies. The association says the delay in assessing their funds is affecting onward payments to their customers.
A total of 1.87 billion cedis belonging to members were locked up in the collapsed savings and loans microfinance institutions. A statement signed by the Executive Secretary of the Council for Fund Managers said, a statement signed by the Executive Secretary of the Council for Fund Managers said, though more than 1.43 billion cedis of the 1.87 billion cedis locked up have been validated, only 83 million cedis have been paid to fund managers and their clients in cash. Following the revocation of the licenses, the receiver, Eric Nana Nipa, announced that the government will be raising about 4 billion cedis at no interest to help in paying the affected depositors. This is to be done over a 5-year period. Payments were, however, going to be made twice every year till the 5-year period is over. The fund managers say the 7% of the total locked up amount given to its members is woefully inadequate compared to the over 50% cash payments some institutions in other sectors of the financial system have received. They are convinced that the ability to access their funds should ease liquidity in the investment.
Well, that's all for business. Up next is international news. Let's take some international stories from our international partners, People's Dispatch. On June 13, Saturday, environment groups in Malta had filed a lawsuit against the Planning Authority, PA, after its failure to withdraw the flawed Jena development brief. The lawsuit was filed by 7 groups, including Din Al-Hat Hilwa, FAA Flimkin, Gal Abjent Aja, Greenhouse, Graffiti Movement, Nature Trust, FEE Malta, Ramblers Malta, and Archaeological Society Malta.
The groups have accused that the Planning Authority has been holding vitiated and irregular consultation procedure with regards to the development brief for the site of a former German Palace Hotel in Masaskala. In the petition, the groups have stated that although the local plan defines the area which should be subject to the development brief, the PA chose to include further areas in the development brief exercise. It included a green area which should be accessible to the public and where no increase in height or volume is permitted, as well as a heritage site for which there is already a policy applicable. Moreover, an area of 100,000 square meters which should be developed within the site was arbitrarily laid down. The groups, including the Graffiti Movement, have accused that in view of the fact that the consultation exercise was not in line with the applicable laws and policies, the organizations had given 10 days to the authority to withdraw the flawed Chairman Development Brief. Since the Planning Authority failed to do so, the organizations had no other option but to open a lawsuit against the PA if the effective development brief proposed by the PA goes ahead, it would lead to a massive development project that negatively impacts the infrastructure of massive scala and the lives of residents with no long-term benefit to the locality, the groups added. According to reports, the site is being earmarked for the development of a 15-story hotel and apartment complex proposed by Porto Notos Limited in 2018.
Now, on June 11, the new Communist Party of Yugoslavia, NKP, and the League of Communist Youth of Yugoslavia, SKO, filed a lawsuit in administrative court against the Serbian Central Election Commission, RIK. The communist groups have filed the lawsuit when RIK has refused to give registration to the communist electoral list. Socialism is the only way out for the Serbian parliamentary elections scheduled on June 21.
In this petition, it has been said that RIK hasn't given the communist list headed by Aleksandar Denik, Alexander Banjanak sufficient time to supplement the shortcomings in order to be declared as a participant in the elections. Meanwhile, it was also reported on Wednesday that RIK has overturned its own decision to refuse registration to a right-wing group for the June 21 elections, a day after it ruled that the Leviathan movement failed to submit the requirement number of signatures in support of its candidates. NKPG Secretary stated that our list filed a lawsuit because the defendant did not act with a complaint in accordance with the regulations and the delivery was not made in the manner described in the decision. The NKPG and SKOG, it is clear that the REC discriminated against the communists during these elections, which shows that everyone could participate in these elections except our list. Representatives of the NKPG to SKOG handed over the collected signatures for list socialism in the only way out to the RIK on June 5, Friday.
Well, credit to People's Dispatch for the international stories. Up next is sports.